Lesson 3, Development of the Periodic Table. So in the 1800s, there were about 50 elements known. Okay, it's about 50. Okay, scientists knew the elements had different masses, and we had different masses. So they arranged the elements in order of their atomic mass. Arranged in order of atomic mass. Okay, and that is around about the 1800s. Then we move on to 1864 and John Newlands. Okay, Newlands, he arranged his elements in order of atomic mass. What he realized was that after every 8 element, the properties seemed to be in common. So every 8th element had properties in common, and he called these octaves after the musical octaves of 8 notes. Okay, so, and after the first 3 rows, however, the properties that they had in common seemed to disappear. So this pattern only appeared for the first 3 rows of his periodic table, which you can see in figure 7. So the properties in common for first 3 rows. Then in 1869 we have a new scientist came along, Dmitry Mendeleev. So Mendeleev made a periodic table, so again based on the atomic mass. So Mendeleev's table, so Mendeleev, so he's a Russian. So his table was in order of atomic mass. But he left gaps. He left gaps in the table. That is the key piece of information. And he was able to predict the properties of the elements in those gaps. Then in 1904 we have William Ramsay. And he discovered the Nobel gases, so a new group, group 0. So he discovered group 0, or the Nobel gases. And these took so long to be discovered because they are very unreactive. Okay, so argon contains 1% of the air that we breathe in, and we don't know it's there because it's so unreactive. So that is the development of the periodic table. Okay, that's the information you need. So in 1800s, with 15 elements, they were arranged in different masses that didn't really show any patterns. Newlands arranged his atomic mass, but he realized if he placed them in a table about 8 rows, he would, 8 columns, he would realize that the elements had properties in common. So hydrogen had properties in common with lithium, and he called these octaves because an octave is 8 musical notes. Okay, this only happened for the first 3 rows, however, of his table. So his table, the first 3 rows worked. Below that, that property did not work. Then we have Mendeleev, who also arranged an atomic mass, but he realized that there was gaps in the table, so he didn't put necessarily one beside the next one. He realized there was a gap in the mass, there was something missing, so he left the gap. But he was able to then predict the properties of the elements in those gaps. So he had his groupings with gaps in them. And then in 1904, William Ramsay discovered group 0, which had been undiscovered up to that point because they're completely unreactive. And he called those gases the Nobel gases.